Hello and welcome everybody to the Teamfight Tactics Galaxies OCENA Finals presented by Juked. I am Doa, and with me is my esteemed group of gamers, analysts, casters, top players. We're here to break down these games, see who makes it to the Galaxies Championship, see who makes a lot of money this weekend. It's going to be a ton of fun. I'm going to go from left to right to say hi to everybody. We've got Becca Tilt, streamer, player extraordinaire. How's it going?
I'm good. I'm really excited and I'm really nervous, but I'm super looking forward to these games today.
Me too. And you don't need to be nervous. Don't worry. It's going to be awesome. Going to go to the right of Becca. We have That's Primal, community extraordinaire, top player, guide maker. How's it going?
I'm doing good, man. I lost about 500 LP this week, so I'm looking forward to seeing the pros show me how it's done. And we got a dog here. He's actually doing some casting as well. His name's Uzi. So it's going to be a quadcast.
Nice. All right. Well, the more the merrier, I say. And speaking of more and merrier, to the right of That's Primal, we have Mean Mr. Keen, esports writer, top player, Keen name chooser. How's it going?
Oh, well, I'm excited to be. I'm excited to hear. Like Derek, I lost a lot of LP last night, so excited to watch players. I'm personally excited to see who hits the Fizz first, so we can make the quick pivot into Mech.
There you go. Mech's a popular comp. We may see a little bit of that. Depends on who the Blade chooses as well, I suppose. But let's take a look at our participants for this weekend. We've got 24 top Teamfight Tactics players from the Oceania region and North America. And here they are arranged in the lobbies. I believe they will be. Oh, never mind. We'll see the lobbies in a moment. These are just our 24 players. And there's so many big names on this list, aren't there, Becca?
Yeah, there are a lot of names on this list. Definitely, they're very big.
Any standout in particular to you?
Yeah, Smoke GG. Oh, he's on a great org. A great org, Golden Guardians. I'm actually
the caster bias going early.
Yeah, gotta get it going.
How about you, Keen? Who are you going to be looking for the most in terms of whose games do you want to see?
I think Grand Vice is the one that I would peg as the pre-favorite to win the tournament. It's a flex meta right now. There's so many comps that actually work, despite me saying that Mech is the one. Grand Vice has always been somebody who's good at playing a variety of different comps, and he's been crushing it on the ladder, especially on EU West, which is just apparently much worse than N8 based on how he's smashing it.
Whoa.
So Grand Vice is
already.
Yeah, Grand Vice is going to represent NA, which is definitely going to be the best region. I think him, and then also Mismatch Socks is the second person I would be curious to watch. He's been a very strong player throughout all of set 3, consistently holding top ranks. So those are the two that I would be most excited to look forward going into the matches today.
All right, That's Primal. How about you? Who stands out?
Aegon, actually. So I know there's a lot of players here who are higher rated than Aegon, but Aegon's consistently shown up in tournaments. I believe he won Mortdog's Top 4 Madness as well.
He did.
So,
yep.
I think tournament play is pretty distinct from ladder play in terms of the preparation that goes in and honestly the psychological pressure that's induced. So I'm actually looking out for Aegon. I think he's going to have a really strong showing.
Yeah, I think so too. He's been one of the top tournament players all year. I can't wait to get the games going. But let's take a look at our schedule, first of all, and the prize pool that these guys are fighting it out for. August 14th and 15th, that's today. And tomorrow, we've got the round of 24 today. And then tomorrow, our top 8. Obviously, the prize pool, a big deal. 12,500 is a lot for first place in this. That'll keep you playing TFT for a lot of months. That'll keep you well stocked with a multitude of little legends and maps to choose from in the game as well. And also, those first and second spots will be going on to the Galaxies Championship, too. So there's a lot to play for today. Let's take a look at our scoreboard so we can get a look at those early, at our first 3 lobbies. So the lobbies are going to be shuffled up a little bit between games. We're going to play 5 games overall, or 5 rounds of games, I should say, with 3 going at the same time. We'll be focusing on 1 game at a time. We might jump into another one if ours ends early, but we'll keep you up to date with everything going on, so don't worry about that. But there are our lobbies so far. I'm going to throw this one at you again, Keen. What lobby kind of stands out? Like, what's the group of death here right now?
So the group of death, I would say, is the middle group right here. I think Soju, Milk, Pult being all in it, alongside, like, Sleet's always been a strong player. Spencer is known as a different name on the ladder. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to necessarily repeat that here, but here, we've asked him to change it kindly for the broadcast, but he's also another very highly rated player. This lobby also is interesting because Milk and Soju are 2 players I think have been very strong at hard forcing comps, and that's like Milk in particular when he is at his best when he's able to force a comp that is strong in the meta. And so Soju, same type of thing. This is a lobby that I would look to see. If you got a couple people who committed to comps earlier, they might kind of clash into each other early, as opposed to, say, the left lobby with Grand Vice and Kuram, who are more flex players. So it'll be interesting just to kind of see how the flex kind of lobbies matches up with lobbies where players are kind of hard forcing a single comp.
Yeah, if I could interject really quickly, I just
go
think
for it.
the first lobby looks like it'll be the most promising or the most exciting, just because, like Keen said, Kuram and Grand Vice are so flexible and they just play what they get. And I want to see how or which comps they pull out, because I think they're probably the most unpredictable here.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. And like I mentioned too, these will get kind of shaken up a little bit. They'll get mixed around. There's going to be seeding that goes into the later rounds. So the better you perform, it's kind of a Swiss format. So the better you perform, the higher or the better performing players rather you'll be playing against. So it's only going to get harder as the day goes on for these players. I really, really like this format, actually. It's going to be super interesting. But you know who else I really like, guys? I like juked.gg because they have been supporting Teamfight Tactics Esports all year long. They are awesome, and they're going to help you guys out there, of course. Keep track of things. You can type ! scores to get an updated score sheet to see where your favorite players are at in the overall grand scheme of things. And you can also type ! POV as well to get a list of all the player POVs, because while we would love you to stay here and hang out with us, if there's a player you want to watch in particular, if you want to micro-analyze Aegon style like I know Keen's going to be doing during the games, then you can go and watch his view, just only that if you want to. So Juked has done a great job of getting that all aggregated into one place. So shout out to them for sponsoring us and also for just being awesome supporters of the scene. Yeah, so there you go. So guys, we're moments away from getting into the first game here. We'll be leaving Keen behind. Keen is going to be doing a lot of analysis during the games, and we'll check back in with you to look at some compositions and things like that later. So I want to give you more time to talk right now, because the other three of us are going to be doing a ton of that today during the games. So what are you going to be looking for the most as far as compositions go? Like, what are your top 3 comps in this meta right now?
I think the comps we'll see finished at the top are Cyber, Mech, and probably a mixture of some sort of protector comp. So either Star Guardians, or you go into what's known as the Pipa comp, or it's a bit of a, basically you're playing legendaries when you hit level 9. It's a very high roll comp that relies on using protectors early game to get there.
Sure.
Those are the 3 comps that just feel the most flexible at the moment. So that's kind of what I'd be looking for going into this.
One last quick question for you. Where does 6 Blade Master stand right now in the meta?
It's very high up there, but the Blade doesn't always choose you, so we'll see if the Blade chooses anybody here.
The Blade must choose you. If the Blade doesn't choose you, then you're not going to be successful with it. So you got to be careful. Yeah. Just like, we watched Crowan in the Mort Dog Madness top 4 tournament. He did pretty well, but he played Blade Masters every single game, and that's dangerous. He's a great player, but the Blade has to choose you. It's true, isn't it, guys?
Has to choose you.
He's the tourney god.
Exactly.
Crowan is the tourney god.
He's one of many. That's, as we wait for the first game to load too, that's going to be one of the interesting things I think that's going to develop over time with TFT, is that there seems to be a growing sort of like 2 different branches of pro players right now. There's the ladder monsters and there's the tournament monsters, right? And like some players excel on ladder and have really struggled in tournaments. And then you have other players, and I think we can say Crone is one of those, that's been so good in tournaments all year long, but has never been like a consistent top ladder player. So you don't need to be one to be the other, it seems like. And it's really interesting to see how those skills sort of like translate to different parts of TFT play. As we move into game number 1, it is a normal Galaxy, and we are on board with Aegon to start things off.
Yeah, I think to your point, though, it's going to be really interesting to see here who sort of chooses to force their comfort comps versus go flexible, because we see some players who are pretty renowned at certain comps, like Cottontail is a really well-known Cybers player, for example.
Right.
But I think he just picked up a belt, so usually you're not going to look to play Cybers off of that. So maybe he's looking to play this a little bit more flexibly, because that was what the meta favors.
Yeah,
We were just talking about this actually, because Keen was coaching me in one of my games right before this, and he was saying that belt starts are really good just because protectors are so flexible. So starting with the belt just leaves that avenue open, and then you can always go for the healing debuff items like Morello or Red Buff. and it's just really flexible. And Warmogs is always flexible too. You could play it on your mech. So.
Yeah, it's funny how like Belt has sort of risen in stock a lot lately, because it wasn't too long ago where Belt was like, yeah, it's good for Jarvan, but that's about it. But now we've seen so many comps come up, with the Morellonomicon being so important, and blasters came up a little bit again recently in like patch 10-16 or so, and now suddenly Belts are good again. What do you think about the Syndra? I feel like I always sell Syndras now, even though I was a big Star Guardian Sork player early on. But maybe with his Jarvan start, you keep it and you try to go early Protector Sorks. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it kind of depends on what items you get. An early Syndra with blue buff or even a Shojin's can be super, super strong. So she's kind of a unit where you hold her until you see what items you get. And also in his shop, he had a Zai and a Fiora, neither of which are particularly valuable in his comp. So it made sense to hold Syndra there for sure.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it's not costing you an eco or interest, I think it's fine to hold.
It's huge to find an Ahri too at this point in the game. Like, I almost like Ahri more than Syndra in the early game.
Yeah, they sort of more. It depends on what you're trying to do. Ahri is a little more positioning reliant, where Syndra scales a bit harder with items. But both good, and I think it's interesting that he already got a Guardian Angel. So he actually has a pretty good start if he wants to run Sorks, because GA is so good on your front line. But unfortunately, no tiers, so we'll see if he goes to that direction.
Yeah,
I'm a little excited because Aegon, for a while, he was just one-tricking Star Guardians, wasn't he? I wonder if he's gonna
played a
bring it
lot
back.
of it.
I mean, yeah, but I guess they've like fallen out of meta, so I wonder. It looks
He's
like a
always been-
Protector start.
Yeah, he's really actually like fortunate to find that early Jin Zhao too and get the 2 Protector bonus. It's always pretty nice. But he has been one of the players that I've liked for a long time, because I was such a big Star Guardian Sork fan, and he did play a ton of that. But I feel like his style's kind of been changing a little bit recently, where he always used to go on these like insane loss streaks every single game.
Oh, open fort. Aegon open fort.
He was so good at controlling them, though. It like blew my mind. But lately, I feel like I see him just win streaking more and more. That Nocturne 2, though. I think Nocturne 2 is one of like the best early units in the game right now.
Yeah,
he's solid, but you got a 2-star J4, man. It's kind of hard to compete with that. So I think that
true.
in this particular setup, the J4 and the Xin are actually kind of the carries. He's off to a really, really strong start, and he slammed that GA, so he's going to commit to something like a Nico frontline who really uses GA effectively.
Yeah. Do you feel like it's harder to win streak, or harder to I meant to say loss streak, than it has been in the past, Becca? I feel like it's getting a little bit tougher to control those in this meta.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people know that you either have to lose or you have to win, or they want to keep the streaks up, and it makes it so hard. I mean, because you'll have like one end of the lobby being super strong and one end being super weak, and you're kind of left in an awkward position when you're not either, when you're in the middle.
Right, because then you're just going to be behind on gold, no matter what your result is. If you like win, loss, it's basically just like 1 extra gold every other round.
Yeah.
That does not help. Yeah. So playing against Treebeard now, we were talking a little bit earlier, and like Becky, you were saying you were pretty excited about seeing Treebeard play in this tournament. He's a player that I feel like he's always been around on the ladder, but he hasn't gotten his due in tournaments yet,
Yeah, I think Treebeard is such an underrated streamer and player. He's consistently in the top 10 of the NA ladder, and his stream is actually so enjoyable. He has a great personality, and he's really good at forcing protectors, but also he's just awesome. I think he deserves a little more attention in the TFT community. So I'm excited to see him do well, hopefully.
Yeah, that's one of the things I like about this event in particular, because you get to see a good mix of ladder players and tournament players, because a lot of the tournaments would generally, of course, cater towards players that were able to play in that environment and make it through qualifiers, or else get invites earlier on in the scene's life. So you didn't see a lot of players like Treebeard, but this event kind of provides a venue to shine, Wow, he finds a Nico too.
I really like Aegon's start. He has the GA on Nico already, but actually, Kian really enjoys playing. Enjoys playing the protectors, and he was telling me that without Warmogs, it's almost not even worth playing protectors early. So
I think with GA on Nico, you're okay.
Yeah, I would think that too. I might be misquoting him, and he'll be upset later.
Well, like Primal, you're the one who like basically first taught me how to play Star Guardian Sork like months and months and months ago. And one of the things that one of the like basic tenets of this is like if Nico has a GA, you're guaranteed to get one ult and you're probably getting two. Is that like still generally the case in your experience?
Yeah, certainly on the guaranteed to get one ult part. You know, as Becca noted, it is much better if you can get a Warmog. Once you get a Warmog, she's basically mech, and this is a fun carousel. We can say the term Mort Dog, right? That's what's happening.
I think you can say it today and maybe not tomorrow when Mort's
cool. Well, he's not here, so I'm gonna say they got Mort Dog.
You know he's in chat though.
He's in chat, but I'm not reading chat, so I can ignore that. But yeah, you definitely want to get as many belts as you can get on Nico, but it's pretty versatile in terms of tank items. I think once you have the GA, you're pretty much good for all of stage 2 and 3, maybe even stage 4. And you know, now that a spat is actually not too bad because he can choose to make someone into a protector and then drop one of the weaker protectors, or even go 6 protectors. So spat is not terrible for Aegon here.
So we're going to jump on board with Raza now, who's one of our representatives from the Oceania region. And I'm excited about these guys in particular because I haven't gotten to see these 4 players from Oceania play that much yet. So I don't know a ton about them. So it's going to be interesting to see what the style is over there, because I admit that's a region that I don't have a ton of experience with yet.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, every once in a while you see different comps come out of there. I know Estra pioneered the shall we say Yi reroll comp.
The Slash Brothers, the brothers.
Slash Bros. It's called Slash Bros.
Slash Bros, Slam Siblings, whatever you want to call it.
And I like that.
When mech started getting popular, there was sort of a different variant of mech where you would build BT, Titan's Resolve, and maybe even Infinity Edge sometimes.
Yeah, aggro mech. Yeah.
But I think they have just a bit of a different regional meta. I'm not convinced that it's going to be particularly good in what's going to be a more NA dominant tournament. So it's going to be interesting to see if he's able to make the switch to a different regional setup than he's used to.
Yeah, it's always that question too, because you've also got the ping thing, which is not a huge deal in TFT, but sometimes it does come into play just a little bit as well.
You know what? I wonder. It just like mentally gets to you because if you're going on a big roll down and there's a little bit of lag and you think you bought something and then you re-roll too quickly, it's just a tilter. So I feel like it is a mental disadvantage.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to see that.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to quickly draw attention to the infiltrator spat Aurelia.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too. Yeah, that's huge.
With just hit strategies working really well. I'm not have that, but they are definitely running cybers.
I love that early infiltrator spat on Aurelia and then commit to cybers, but do either of you think that's like too early of a commitment? I mean, it's only 2-7 right now.
I love it.
I think it's a little bit of an early commitment because I used to do it a lot in my games and I tend to either regret it because you just want to, I mean, I think on this patch specifically, you could play a little more flexibly, and just having that infiltrator spat kind of makes you not want to go other comps.
It does narrow your focus a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does. I think I'm not sure who slammed it or what their HP position is. I think there's 2 reasons you would want to make it early. A, to just win streak, because with an Aurelia with infiltrator spat, you're definitely going to win streak. And B, if you feel like you already have the other core cyber items like a glove. Usually the hard part with cybers, if you're win streaking, is getting a last whisper for Vayne. But if they have those, or they have a plan for getting those, or they plan to just hit, I think it's a good slam.
Yeah, that was a Grand Vice that ended up getting that actually. Well, look at this for Raza. He's got a lot of interesting options because you can look at this and say, all right, well, maybe this is like a Protector's Darkstar thing. And yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense to swap those Caitlyn items over onto the Ashe now. But what's interesting to me is I feel like and again, like I'm not a challenger player. I'm like mid to high diamond right now, unfortunately. But like I feel like I don't see as many Darkstar focused comps anymore. You know, it's out there, but is it what tier would you put it at? I don't know if I'd put it at S tier right now.
I think B tier.
All that Ashe arrow.
That was really
oh, that's a tilter. Yeah, I think Darkstar, since the nerfs, it just, it doesn't have as consistent of a spike as it used to.
Yeah.
So if you have Shaco with really good items, I think it can do well and maybe win streak you to a victory. But I think it's really hard to take a first versus some of the more meta comps right now. So I put it at probably a B.
All right.
But
What do you think, Becca?
on the bright side, this patch is so, I guess I feel like it's very balanced, or as balanced as it could be.
It's super
And
open, yeah.
yeah, so if the game is giving you dark stars, you don't have to feel bad about
What?
going
Did
with
you see
it.
that shop?
Yeah. Oh my god. When you get a fizz, I think you just switch everything and go mech.
Yeah, he just
It's
got a
so
fizz and a
consistent.
rumble in the same shop. It's like, all right, the mech chose me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's got to type me mech in chat immediately though. Otherwise,
Pretty much.
yeah, it's not valid.
Yeah,
But,
I was just having this conversation about who's the best naked forecast forecast unit, and it just Fizz is just too good. He builds into mech. He's also just like CC disruption for the backline.
I think
Agreed.
in his
good.
original skin, he is just naked too. I don't think he wears it.
Well,
think he
also,
needs-
yeah. Wait, is it actually the no skin? I think there's a skin on him.
Well, he's mech. He's like mech Fizz in
Yeah,
this
yeah.
one. I don't know the actual skin title, but like classic Fizz is just like he's just got like kind of frog skin going on, you know?
Yeah, man, he's comfortable in his body.
champion,
You know?
Yeah,
Can't hit him.
Body
Yeah.
positivity.
he's just out there
yeah.
bouncing around on his pike, you know?
There you go.
Yeah.
I want to note, he actually has pretty good items for mech to start.
Yeah.
I mean, you have an infiltrator spat, so you can choose to go for infiltrator. Maybe put that on Ziggs or GP. Some people even put it on Victor, but that can be a little bit dangerous. He's got a Shojin for Victor, so now he's got to actually get the mech items though, if he wants to run mech. And I think he actually ended up selling his mech units because he could have made it.
You're right.
So I think he decided, you know what, we're actually really, really far from like the Titan's Resolve, Hand of Justice, Quicksilver Sash. That makes mech really potent. You do need the items at the end of the day.
You notice too, is he's like scouting through a lot of lobbies, including Marcus 35 here. There's a lot of people that are like dipping their toes in the river of mech right now, right? Where it's like everybody kind of wants to play it. So if you're gonna find an early Fizz, early Rumble Annies and stuff, you're gonna pick it up and hold it for a little while. And it seems like Raza just is deciding that he doesn't want to do that hand-holding game. He doesn't want to. He wants to go 8th on his own, not hand-holding with other mech players.
Yeah.
Not finish an 8th, but you know.
With his health total, it's a little scary to go contested comp, especially
Yeah. I mean, if you can
I
get
know
the
how
mech
you feel.
online this early, it's huge, right? But
Yeah.
you know, if you don't,
It is a little odd that he just committed out of mech immediately though, because he doesn't have much gold or health to pivot.
Mhm.
So this is a pretty ballsy commit by him.
I'm
I think he figures I'm playing Darkstar no matter what, and we're gonna play for top 4 from the spot because he's already so low and doesn't have a great economy.
right. I'm a little bit surprised, given kind of the state of the comp in question and you know the HP, because I think we've all had a lot of games where you get like 40 or less HP, the mech comes online, and then you still manage a top 4, you know.
Mhm.
But enough of that. We're gonna jump over to Grand Vice's view and see what he's up to. Cybernetics, he's got Blade Masters going, and of course we knew he was kind of commit this direction when he built that earlier infiltrator spat on Aurelia.
Yeah, it feels really good to also have like the upgraded Fiora and the upgraded Leona when you're trying to go cybers. Maybe he already had that and that's why he slammed the infiltrator spot.
Could be, yeah.
Oh man, this feels good. I mean, it looks good for Aegon.
Great items.
Oh, sorry,
on
it's
the,
Grand
Fiora
Vice.
and-
I'm so sorry. Yeah.
I mean, maybe it looks good for Aegon. Who knows? But great items on the Fiora and the Leona too. Those are pretty ideal.
Redemption's pretty much best in slot for Fiora. I think sometimes I'll see less experienced players put it on Leona, but it's actually better on Fiora because she doesn't live too long, right? You want her to die sort of in the middle of the fight. So as far as supporting cyber items, he has pretty close to ideal items. He just needs the last whisper. He's really going to be feeling the pain in first place if he doesn't hit a glove to make last whisper. So we'll see. But there's a vein in the
look at that cyber
shop.
shop.
Oh, this is kind of a high roll game for Grand Vice.
The cyber chose him. Apparently.
I was actually watching Kyun's stream recently, and he was actually saying like he wants to prove that cyber items don't matter. I might be misquoting him, but I was like,
That's a
I want to
bold
watch
statement.
this. But I don't think he ended up placing that well that game. So I don't know how I feel.
I
Maybe
think
you
cyber
maybe
items
they
matter.
I don't know. I want to see. Like maybe Grand Vice doesn't get the stereotypical Vayne items, the Last Whisper and the IE, and I want to see how he does in this game.
Yeah. I mean, the nice thing about Grandvice's position is he has so much health to play with that if he does not get a Last Whisper, he can always go 9, add Janna, or even play Janna at 8 if he's really struggling with Vanguard or something, and then bridge until he picks up a Last Whisper on a Carousel or something late game. So he's got options, but it could put a dent in his plans and prevent him from win streaking to infinity.
I think he could still. I think you can top 4 with cybers and bad items, but I think having good items is what unlocks that like top 2 spot.
Yeah, for sure. But let's see. Yeah, I'm actually curious to see what he gets here. This is actually going to be a pretty impactful creep round for him.
Yeah. Like you mentioned, though, at least he's on a win streak and he's got the most HP. So he's got like a lot of leeway to sort of like branch into whatever he feels he needs to, or, take time to find the stuff to really make his comp pop off, Gold.
Looks like he's contested, though. Cottontail.
Yeah.
He started belt, but he's like, you know what? I'm playing Slivers. So
he got 0 items.
Bread and butter.
0 items from the infiltrators. That is really rough.
He's pretty rich, though.
That's an interesting one.
We take those.
Do you guys prefer playing Shen or Riven if you're looking for a Chrono Blade Master?
I like Shen. Primarily because I think Riven kind of needs items to do things. Whereas Shen, no matter what, items or not, he's going to get his ult off, and he's really, really good at shutting down auto attackers. And he's less expensive, too,
I agree. You just save the money.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree. So Cottontail might be making a little bit of a pivot here.
Wait, did you see Grandvice type in chat and then delete?
I did not read.
He said, "Where my item, Keck?" and then quickly escaped.
He's asking Mort. Where are his items, Mort?
Oh, he is talking to Mort.
I would not be surprised. Just putting that out there in the void.
Yeah. But let's see. You got what, 12 to 14 items a game? So he's expecting like the mother load of item drops.
Seriously.
Going into stage 5, and hopefully one of them's a glove for him.
It always tilts me when this happens because I know I'm about to get just like a boatload of items dumped on me, and that's a lot of decisions to make in a very short time. It gives you the most decisions, so it's probably the most objectively advantageous way to get items, especially when you have so much HP. But it feels very overwhelming.
I like how his entire board is melee, and it's just this awkward cluster of units in the front.
Yeah, it's an aggressive-looking board.
Yeah.
Becca, how do you feel about the Giant Slayer Slam, considering that consumes a bow? How do you feel about that?
I think if you don't get the Last Whisper, right, the Giant Slayer's the only way you can cut through tanks, even though I know that it doesn't do too well against Vanguards. But, I mean, luckily, like, I feel like nowadays people don't play Vanguards as often as they used to at some point in Set 3. Yeah. Okay, he's 8 now.
I really like this. I feel like we don't see this enough, where people prioritize. Oh no, I was gonna
talk
Mana
about Reaver.
yeah, I love Mana Reaver. Like I do this a lot in my games, and I think it's underused, honestly. Like Mana Reaver, especially if you get in a situation where you have like a Shroud on Leona or something like that. You have that and Mana Reaver. You just slow down their team so much, which is really what Cybernetics wants, because it's kind of a comp that grinds through instead of bursts the other team in a lot of cases. So I think Mana Reaver with Darius like in the mid game is underused in cyber trees. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think the thing that feels bad is since Cassidy got removed mid-set, there's not really a mid-game Mana Reaver who feels strong to play. So in cybers, you're kind of just waiting to get Thresh, who's like a great unit and has Mana Reaver, whereas Darius is kind of a bot. He doesn't really do that much at stage 4. But I agree, Mana Reaver in general is super, super powerful, and it feels so good when you have it on an Infiltrator Aurelia especially.
I think he definitely would have played it if he didn't hit that Gen 2. It feels really hard not to take the Gen 2 just because it's an upgrade. And also like his Aurelia is 1, his Darius is going to be 1. I don't know. I agree with his decision, but I think he would have played the Mana Reaver if he didn't hit that Gen.
You're probably right. Yeah, the Gen 2 is probably better, I guess.
Yeah, it's a little hard to give up on that carry. But he's definitely going to sell it, right? I don't think you play Gen 2 in Cybers typically.
Not usually, I don't think.
Yeah, you would only really play a Gen 2 at 9 once you already have Chrono from Thresh. But usually you're going to play a Kate.
Oh
but
no!
He's playing what he hit.
There's someone at 1 HP.
Oh, chats guys, what happened?
Yeah, Chatsuke's from the Oceania region down to almost out right now. So rough first game for him either way.
Yeah,
Ooh.
Yeah, so
Cottontail has the echo already.
that's big.
yeah.
Does he
And
have
he has
the
better items, arguably, than Grand Vice.
hmm?
This is
And that's
interesting.
what usually determines like which cyber player is going to go farther, you know. And this is not looking bad for Cottontail.
Yeah.
Mm.
This could get really interesting late game because what happens with Cybers is you want Wukong in
Mhm.
for Vanguard and Chrono. And in the Cyber versus Cyber matchup, if one of the Cybers doesn't have Last Whisper, Wukong becomes a huge problem. So the fact that Cottontail already has the Last Whisper Infinity Edge combo means that he's favored it versus Grand Vice in the late game if Grand Vice can't get some good armor penetration.
Very true.
I would still be a little scared. I'd be a little upset that my Vayne still won. Like perfect items, just Vayne won.
And he rolled down too. Like he's
He doesn't have too much money. Oh, but he's
that
getting
helps.
the echo rolls.
All
He
right.
also hasn't found an Aurelia yet.
Oh, you're right. That's odd.
Yeah,
Huh.
so it's a little scary, but he's still healthy. He's probably fine. He's
Yeah.
looking at Grand Vice's competition. He's like jealous of that Aurelia.
Yeah.
And Grand Vice
Still-
just hit the echo there.
I think
Yeah.
you're right though, where like the fact that he's got those vein items, if he can hit the vein too, he's gonna probably be looking a little bit better in the mirrors, providing that Grand Vice doesn't come at him with like an Aurelia too, with the infiltrator spat.
Mhm.
Could still go
Yeah,
good.
I think from this spot, I think he's okay. If I'm Cottontail, I'm feeling pretty good, right? Because he does have a Vayne pair. He has neutrals coming up, so he's gonna make a bunch of money, so he can roll down with 20 to 30 gold.
Mhm.
So there's always a chance he doesn't get lucky. I don't think he's gonna hit Aurelia 2, but Vayne 2 he should probably hit.
Yeah, he got
Ooh.
the protector spatula Syndra. I love this. We see it a little bit here and there, but it's I think Syndra and Shaco are my two. Syndra, Shaco, and obviously Aurelion Soul are my favorite recipients of the protector spatula item. Maybe I'll throw Darius in there too.
Becca, who do you have to win this game so far? We're at the like 66% waypoint.
Honestly, we haven't really gotten to see where Kerm's at or Treebeard's at. But obviously Grand Vice looks like he's in a really good spot.
Hmm.
I do have like a little bit of less confidence in Cybers getting first, and that's the only reason why I wouldn't give all my trust into Grand Vice.
Yeah.
He's got
I think
GA potential now.
ooh, there it is. Echo 2, just
Oh.
hit, man. Oh my god, the Thresh also. That's really
Wow.
good. Yeah,
Where's the Aurelia? There it is.
there it is.
Yep.
Oh, such a good roll down.
Infiltrator talent. Would you slam to GA on this Aurelia? I'd be really tempted to.
I think I might put it on Echo because he's already 2.
Yeah.
Does he have a GA to slam? Does he have a chain on the back?
It's kind of hid behind the graphic, but he got a vest off of one of the creeps. Yeah, see, there it is. Oh, so he's actually gonna. Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess that makes sense if he needs an item on the Vi.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah, interesting note about Cybers and that what Becca was saying about taking first. Cybers actually has a pretty difficult matchup into Protector Star Guardian sometimes because of Nico.
Nico, yeah.
Back.
Right.
What'll happen is all your melee units will surround her and they'll just keep perma-stunning. However, if you have Infiltrator Spat Aurelia, that changes things a lot because now Aurelia can just jump straight to the back line. So I think if there were a scenario for Cybers to take first, this would be it. And both Cybers players have Infiltrator Aurelia.
So we should mention too, Chatsky's was knocked out in 8th a little while ago. Raza looks like he may be soon to follow here. He had a strong board. That was definitely a scary Shaco, but looks like things just not coming together for him. The top 4 look pretty solidified. Like there's a big drop between Marcus and Kurum right now.
Yeah, moment of silence for Oceania.
Are there any mech players in this lobby? Because
at least 1 or 2, right?
Raza.
Was it Mac?
Raza? Someone's playing Mac. I don't know if it was Raza.
when we were following him in the beginning, he kind of seemed to not be going towards mech. He sold the Rumble. So
Yeah, he saw that Fizz early too, didn't he?
yeah. So I think there are 2 Jinx players, and I feel like against Jinx players, you really like the mech, but I actually don't think there are any mech players. Surprisingly.
You know, funny enough, like the Jin 2 that Grand Vice picked up makes his board pretty resilient against mech in a way that Cybernetics isn't sometimes. So that's kind of a funny thing to think about too, I guess.
Oh yeah, because a lot of the cyber units are melee or the strong cyber units. But
Right.
oh, there he is. Okay, M. Okay,
Yeah.
M35.
Yeah.
Pretty solid mech board.
Contail's looking really good.
Yeah. You know that feeling when you're playing Rebels and there are a lot of mechs in the lobby and your whole board just gets mech'd?
Uh-huh.
That feeling.
That's the feels bad that you know you have to group your rebels up. You know that's what they want. You're playing right into their hands.
Yeah.
Oh, I think this is a really tough matchup for Karoom because I think generally Cybers kind of farm Rebels, particularly when Echoes too, because he'll just focus down the Jinx. So this is kind of unwinnable for him, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's looking like he might drop pretty quick. I think we're gonna have a close top 4, but beyond that, it's not gonna be very close. Razad did win his game actually, so he's staying alive. Like maybe with some good rounds, he can maybe get like a sneaky 4th. But
What this carousel?
Oh my goodness! I don't want to say it, but
suddenly we're in super dense. I thought it was a no Galaxy game, but no, we're just in delayed super dense now. Apparently, that changed.
This is like the good version of getting more dogged, right? Everyone gets a fawn. No one feels bad. I like that carousel.
So we're literally just in delayed super dense Galaxy now. That's crazy. All right, well,
Treebeard's at 1 HP. He could be the protagonist, you know, like the plot armor where you live with 1 HP and you just bring it back.
Yeah, like
everyone's rooting for you.
It's like the equivalent of him taking off like the 500-pound like wrist things that Goku wears.
Yeah.
Power. Oh, Janna 2.
That's good.
He can't afford it.
Yeah.
Well, he can afford it.
He can. I think the Rage Blade is the big problem here, though. I think it kind of feels bad on Jinx. He doesn't really have a strong DPS item like a Giant Slayer is typically what you want here.
He doesn't have a 9th unit either, which is a little bit awkward.
Yeah, and he doesn't have good synergies for
So
Jinx.
I would assume he was just contemplating whether or not he wanted to play 2 Jannas instead of just the Janna upgraded unit, just because he doesn't have the extra unit now.
Yeah, or possibly like throwing another Rakan or something, anything to just fill out the board a little bit more. But
wow,
win this? Is he gonna knock Kurum out? He is.
Wait, what? This Jinx comp beat the better Jinx comp? That's amazing,
dude. I mean,
something, man.
It's all. I guess it's all about the fight sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, and finds a Thresh. That sounds like a pretty good 9th unit to put in there. And yeah, toss Jason.
With no bench is a little awkward, but definitely the 4th chrono feels good.
Oh my god!
I like this. This is fun. The 4 chrono Jinx.
Right?
All right.
Yes.
That's the epitome of flexible play. I love this.
Yes, Treebeard is so underrated. I'm excited. I hope he does. Yeah, I hope he didn't caster curse him. Oh no.
I don't know. It's always possible. Like the caster curse is very real, but we'll see if he can handle his opponent here. Marcus 35 has the mech. Oh no.
Yikes.
I think we're blaming Becca for this one.
Oh no.
Becca, why?
Caster curse.
I pointed it out as well.
No. Becca's been flaming Treebeard all day.
So rooting for him.
Indeed.
I think that's 6 is a respectable finish considering he clearly didn't hit what he needed to hit and had to play really, really abstractly. So that's rough, but you know, that's performed better than I thought that board would.
So the top 4 almost decided. Raza with a win streak now, so he's making it happen.
So what's awesome, I feel like, is just playing that flexibly so that you don't get the 8th or the 7th. I think 6 is considerably
if something's
better,
good, something's bad. Like you're versus so many bad players.
So playing 4 chrono Jinx is so not.
I actually thought Jinx is good,
but he was able to pull it
after
out
seeing this lobby,
not get bottom 2 at least.
It's like me and Treebeard are duo Jinx.
If we're giving out superlatives, he gets the most flexible player for this game.
Yeah.
Me and Treebeard are duo Jinx.
I think this is going to be a Cybers versus Cybers 1-2.
There's 2 people duo Cybers, fucking first and second.
Just because they both got pretty much perfect items. I don't know if Grand Vice ever hit the last Whisper, but the Infiltrator Aurelia basically took care of any meta counters to them. Like Mech or
if Cyrus is going to be this strong,
I didn't realize
right? Then it's like Astro Sniper's not good either.
I'm still waking up apparently. It's esports morning, you know.
Hey,
It's
Raza's
like,
just been on a win streak since
Honestly, then I think
he was actually in last for a while, wasn't he?
Sure.
yeah.
If Jinx feels this.
Yeah, he was on the verge of being eliminated. He's been on 11 HP for like a long time now.
Aegon, this is like classic Aegon playing 6-star Guardians with the Xerath.
Yeah. All right. Seemed like I saw Aegon dip out of the game there, so hopefully there's no tech issues going on here. I wonder. Anyway, we'll keep following this for now.
Ooh,
But,
the Hodge Bloodthirster Aurelia Infiltrator.
Yeah, that's nasty.
So strong.
Yeah. And he has double Giant Slayer. So going back to the point about Last Whisper, he doesn't even need it in this matchup because his double Giant Slayer is fantastic versus a Warmog's Nico. It just chunks her for 1 billion damage. So his items are great for this matchup. We'll see if it's sufficient for winning though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Grandvise is looking so good right now.
Yeah.
Look at how the top of the lobby is changing. Like Grand Vice is still way on top, but like Marcus 35 and Cottontail have been losing some rounds, and Rizal like may actually sneak into the top 4 here. It's possible.
Yeah.
Aegon's
I want to draw attention to Grand Vice's positioning. His positioning has been clean every single round we've watched him, and he's doing like things like a lot of players don't think to put Shen in a corner, right? Because he kind of wants Shen on the front line. His position and his sidelining of Aurelia has been super good, catching carries every time. So I think that's the hallmark of a really, really, really good player like Grand Vice. It's every round they're getting pretty much maximum value out of their board.
Yeah, so he sees that there's a very strong Shaco in play, so he like splits up the Vayne because Vayne kind of self peels for herself against infiltrators. So like Vayne managed to get away, and then he separates the Shen to like try to protect the other side. But unfortunately, it didn't matter too much there. Yeah. But I like it. I think it's really smart. I think I want to try doing that too.
Yeah. Man, Raza making me look dumb with a win streak Dark Stars. This guy might take top 3 from what he was like level 6, 20 gold somehow. So that's pretty impressive.
The RFC makes it so the Shen doesn't block anything, so it would make sense for him to move the Shen back up.
Oh, okay.
The RFC Keiko. Yeah.
That's interesting. Well, Thresh gets Zephyr, but not a huge deal. It's still looking pretty good.
They got 2 on the bench, by the way. That's pretty okay.
Oh, is he coming in? No, he's not coming in this game, though. Looks like he doesn't need it. Aegon is eliminated. The question is it 4th or 5th? Aegon out in 5th. Raza did take that sneaky 4th place. He did it. 11 HP, win streaking all the way up to top 4. Wow.
Yeah, 3rd place even. Oh, no, 4th place. You're right. Place.
Still.
Impressive.
Really right. So, luckily for all these players in this lobby, the points breakdown for day 1 just goes 8-1 basically. There's no drop-offs between 1 and 2, and no drop-offs between 4 and 5 like you'd usually see. So it's not as bad to go 5th instead of 4th in this particular point system as opposed to some other tournament systems we've seen. So a little bit less tilting for Aegon at least.
Yeah, it looks like Mech has risen from the depths to be contesting for first at this point. I guess Mess has had uncontested Mech this game, which feels amazing for him.
Yeah,
right?
It feels so good, man. Wait, what were the items on his Mech again?
I'm not sure.
Can't remember. None of us are very observant.
We will find out.
Let's see. Those are good items. So the drop clock for the QSS is probably the only thing he'd really want to change, but it's not bad.
Yeah, I think the QSS, he felt the lack of it there, though. You saw the mech get CT'd. So I think it's really hard for him to take a first. It requires some pretty incredible positioning.
Oh, man. All right. So Cottontail down to 3. We have our top 3 now. Marcus, 7. Cottontail, 3. Grand Vice could get the double kill here. We'll see.
Yeah, I think Grand Vice just faced Mess, right? So
perhaps.
Yeah, this might just come down to who faces whom in this final round. Because I'm pretty sure I think Mess is the weakest here, but if Grand Vice hits Cottontail, it might not matter.
Is it Mess now?
Zephyr? Oh, that Zephyr's so good.
Oh, wow. Victor out of ignition.
Smurf that positioning. He got everything he needed. He shrouded the mech.
Oh no, Vayne, what are you doing?
That is not the right direction to tumble.
Oh
And
no.
Tail's gonna be out. So we have our top
Oh, you
three.
hate to see it, man.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna jump back on board with
Grandma
Grand
just took a huge loss as well.
Yeah, so this might be closer than we thought it was gonna be. What are the Rift Herald items? Trap Claw.
Trap Claw is great for against the Aurelia Infiltrator.
All right.
Agreed. It's also great versus the Victor, because Victor hits so many units, so he's gonna get stunned. Who do you guys have winning this?
It's tough because I feel like Mech does pretty good against Cyber, but what do you think, Becca?
Okay, so I'm wondering. Okay, so he has a double Giant Slayer, which is good against Mech, but also, his Echo still won, his Thresh is won, his bench is great though. Oh man.
Yeah,
I'm genuinely not sure.
Yeah, like I think with really good positioning, Grand Vice can win this. Like generally,
he needs to get
the Victor.
He needs to get the Urgot on the Mech for like an easier win.
Exactly.
So this Thresh needs to be positioned.
So I'd would you just maybe, he wants to find that Thresh 2 really bad.
Nice.
Nice consolation prize, but like he needs to make sure that Thresh can pull in the Urgot, I think.
Yeah, once the Urgot's in, I think he's pretty safe.
For sure.
Yeah, also, he has nothing on the bench now. Yeah, I think he's good. I think Gigon. Sorry, I think Grand Vice will win. I'm so sorry, I keep saying that.
That's fine.
That was a huge GP ult.
Yep. Oh, he got the Urgot in. Urgot.
Oh no, it's not gonna get the Mech. It's not getting it.
I think Grand Vice actually could have positioned a little bit better here, because you'll note that the Vayne took every Victor ult. That's because Echo wasn't on the same side as Vayne. Right. So instead of Jhin and Echo getting ulted, Vayne got ulted several times.
Well, there you go. That is game number 1. Marcus 35, sometimes known as M35, sometimes known as Mess. Nobody's really sure. Either way, he wins game number 1. So good start for him. Remember, there were 2 other lobbies going at the same time, though. So we'll catch you up on those scores in just a moment. Let's see who won those lobbies first of all, and check that out. So it's going to be Marcus, of course. Wow, it's Pat. Interesting. Winning lobby number 2. And Kiyun winning lobby number 3. Kiyun has been a big tournament monster earlier in the year. Was known for a lot of his mech play in the earlier parts of set 3, but coming back to winning game number 1. So pretty big.
I'm happy for Kiyun. But that lobby was actually really fun. I wasn't sure, but maybe Keen can elaborate on the mech versus cyber matchup.
So that matchup, I think it's really hard once the Gangplank 2 is hit. Like you saw him rolling at the end to try and hit the Echo 2 to make the final play. But once you have that Gangplank 2, as long as that ult goes off even once, you don't win that matchup.
Yeah, that Gangplank ult was so huge for sure.
It just takes too much. Even if he had the Urgot in, I don't think ulting the Urgot would, or excuse me, ulting the mech would have mattered. He needed to ult the Gangplank before the ult goes off, but because Gangplank had the blue buff, there just wasn't any way for him to kill it in time. It was still really well played game though. If you look at the other 2 lobbies as well, I actually ended up being able to tune into both of them. And Kiyun hit mech on stage 2 on Dwarf Planet. So I mean, one Dwarf Planet, almost everybody goes mech just because the map is a little smaller. So the mech just hits everything. And Kiyun hit it before the Golem even. So that was a pretty simple hit mech win game kind of situation for him. In the other lobby, it was Trade Sector, and you saw a Xayah reroll comp win over Mech as well. So Mech placed really high at every single lobby, but just depending on what map it is, you're going to see a few different things. So the Trade Sector being really cool, and with that we got the Xayah. So big fan of hitting Mech on stage 2. I think Kiyun should consider doing that again.
Oh.
So looking at the other placements here, if you look at lobby B, you have Pult storming back with the 2nd place there. Soju, who has struggled a little bit in tournaments despite being very good on the ladder, taking 3rd for his first game of the day. Not bad. Delicious Milk, your teammate Becca, 4th place in lobby B, so not a bad start. Do you have any words of encouragement for him if he's out there?
Don't tilt. Play mech. Dude, Milk was the original mech, and then Kiyun just took over. But Milk's the original mech.
True enough. Well, let's take a look at the winning composition of Lobby A, and Keen can break this down a little bit more for us. So what do you want to tell us about mech right now?
First of all, mech very good, but two, so the thing about mech that's super interesting is you can play a lot of different units in the backline and get a lot of different type of buffs. But the general idea behind mech is your tank, right? And I think a lot of players who are kind of newer to the game or maybe aren't as experienced kind of mistake the mech for being their carry because it's like one, the biggest unit, and it does have the flashy ult. And I'm not saying it doesn't do a lot of damage, but you don't win games unless you have a backline that can deal the damage. So in this case, the Victor is actually the carry, and the Gangplank being the secondary or even the primary carry at the end game there. But those are the two units that you need to have good items on in order to win. And perfect items for Victor are Blue Buff and Morello, which you'll see he has. And then Gangplank, you can kind of slap anything on. He just needs to ult to get the big pop off. And with this lobby having the free force of nature on the stage 5 carousel, it allows him to pull a couple different units in here. And so you saw him pivot and add that Star Guardian, which means his Victor is just going to cast a lot. And everything starts to do magic damage. It was just a really strong variant of the mech combo. This is a very standard end game composition here. You have the Mystics, you have Soraka coming in. A lot of people hold on to the Cassiopeia for too long, but Battlecast doesn't actually do anything end game. I was actually talking to Becca about this before we started casting. The Soraka is just better in pretty much every situation, and so keeping the Shaco in is good as well. I think ideally you want to move the Shaco out for the Echo, but you saw in this lobby too, other people were playing Cybers and they both hit the Echo too, so you weren't really going to be able to pivot to that. So keeping the Karma was really smart. This was just like I said, hitting mech very strong in the meta right now. It just counters a lot. I think you saw it destroy. I think Kurum was the one who got knocked out, or it wasn't Kurum. It was the other player playing Rebel that got knocked out.
Oh yeah.
But both Rebel players kind of got blasted. I don't expect us to see much more Rebel throughout the day. It's just not good into this meta, and I think you'll continue to see a mixture of Cyber and Mech dominate the day. I was kind of disappointed to see Aegon disconnect at the end there because he was playing a really strong Protector comp, and Protector is one of those comps that does really well with a lot of Force Natures and Spats. And the disconnect was pretty unfortunate. He got the Nico on the final neutral camp as well, so a little disappointing, but
still managed to take 5th, which again, with the points format, not having a drop off from 4th to 5th is not as bad as it usually is in tournaments, but still definitely a little bit of a bummer. But it was a good breakdown of mech. One of the things I love about mech right now is that like you can build it like that is generally the standard, what we just saw. But there's a couple other ways you can do it, right? You can go for infiltrators, depending on your items. You can go for sorcerers sometimes. So it does feel flexible. But would you guys agree that this is kind of like the standard mech right now, what we just saw Keen break down for us?
Yeah, this seems to be the most popular mech variant.
Mhm.
I always feel a little less confident playing GP without the GA, but his GP just ulted so quickly with the blue and Hodge.
Yeah, usually without the GA, it dies fast. But hey, like you said, blue buff, that works. We are going to take a break, guys. When we come back, game number 2 of the day. Might take a minute or two to shuffle things around. Remember, it is sort of a Swiss-style format, so the higher-placing players will play against each other. And so getting those lobbies organized might take an extra minute or two, but we will be back as soon as possible for more Teamfight action or Teamfight Tactics action here on the TFT Galaxies Championship OCENA Finals, presented by Juked. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back, guys.